Hello everyone, welcome back to Electrical Pathshala 2. In our previous lecture, we have studied about mathematical modeling of control systems and types of control systems by solving an example of an electrical circuit using Kirchhoff's law. In this video, we are going to study about mathematical modeling of mechanical systems and how to write mathematical models for mechanical systems using D'Alembert law. So let's start. So first of all, let's talk about types of mechanical systems. So basically there are two types of mechanical systems, which are mechanical translational system and mechanical rotational system. We'll talk about them one by one. Let's talk about mechanical translational system first. So in mechanical translational system, we talk about translational motion. So what is translational motion? The motion which takes place along a straight line is called as the translational motion. Or in other simple words, we can say that linear motion is called as the translational motion. Now in mechanical translational system, we use some terminologies which are force, which is denoted by F, and the unit of force is Newton. Mass denoted by M, and its unit is kg. Acceleration, which is denoted by A, and its unit is meter per second square. Velocity, which is denoted by V, and its unit is meter per seconds. And displacement denoted by X, and its unit is meters. So these are the terminologies that we use for mechanical translational systems. So now let's talk about the mechanical rotational systems. So in mechanical rotational system, we talk about rotational motion. Now what is rotational motion? The motion about a fixed axis is called as the rotational motion. Or we can say when an object rotates about a fixed axis, then that motion is called as the rotational motion. Now again, for mechanical rotational systems, we use some terminologies which are torque. Torque is denoted by T or tau, and its unit is Newton meters. Moment of inertia, J, unit is kg meter square. Angular acceleration alpha, unit is radian per second square. Angular velocity omega, unit is radians per second. And angular displacement theta, which is the unit is radians. So these are the terminologies that we use for mechanical rotational system. So our next topic is D'Alembert's principle. Let's first talk about the statement. So it states that for any body, the algebraic sum of externally applied forces and the resisting forces in any given direction is always zero. Let's understand this statement. So when an external force is applied on a body, then due to some basic elements, there will always be some resisting forces which will oppose the motion of the body. Now this resisting forces always acts in the opposite direction of the externally applied forces. So D'Alembert's principle says that the algebraic sum of the externally applied forces and these resisting forces is always zero. So according to D'Alembert's principle, we can write here that F external plus F resisting is equals to 0. This is our D'Alembert's principle. So D'Alembert's principle is very useful for writing mathematical models for mechanical system, and we will use it to write mathematical models later in this video. Now we will see what are the basic or ideal elements for mechanical translational and rotational systems. So guys, what happens when an external force is applied on a body, then due to these basic elements, some resisting forces are developed which acts in the opposite direction of the externally applied force so as to resist the motion of the body. Now let's see what are these basic elements and what are the resisting forces developed due to these basic elements. So our next topic is basic elements for mechanical translational system. So first of all, always remember that for mechanical translational system, input is force F and output is linear displacement X or linear velocity V. So for mechanical translational systems, there are three basic elements which are mass element, damper element and spring element. We'll talk about them one by one. So let's first talk about the mass element. So here in this figure you can see the mass element. What happens when an external force is applied on a body having mass m, then it produces acceleration a. Now due to the mass of this body, there will be a resisting force F1 or Fm which will act in the opposite direction of the externally applied force. Now here we are assuming that the other two elements, which are damper element and spring element, are negligible. Therefore this resisting force F1 is equal to the externally applied force F. Now guys, always remember that this resisting force F1 is directly proportional to acceleration A, or we can also say that this resisting force F1 is the product of mass m and acceleration A. So we can write here that F1 or Fm is directly proportional to acceleration a, or we can write it as F1 is equals to m into a, which is equals to F, because the other two elements are negligible here. Or we can also write it as F1 is equals to m into dv over dt in terms of velocity, or we can write it as F is equals to F1 is equals to m d2x over dt2 in terms of displacement. So this term in displacement is very important. You should remember it, because we use this term while writing the mathematical model for mechanical systems. So next element is damper element, which shows the friction. So here we assume that damper element is 0, which means that we assume that there is no friction between the surface and this body. But in general, there is always some friction present between the surface and the body, which is shown by B. So when an external force is applied on the body, then due to the friction present between the surface and the body, there will be a resisting force which will oppose the motion of this body. Similarly, if this body is placed inside a liquid and you try to move this body, then due to the viscous friction present between the liquid and the body, there will be a resisting force which will try to oppose the motion of this body. So due to this friction, a resisting force is developed. A resisting force is developed which always acts in the opposite direction of the externally applied force. Now this friction here is shown by a damper element, which is nothing but a simple arrangement of a cylinder and a piston. As you can see here in this diagram, this is showing a damper element. So when an external force is applied on a body, then a resisting force F2 or Fb is developed due to this damper element. Now here we are assuming that the other two elements are 0, therefore this resisting force is equal to the externally applied force. And always remember that this resisting force is directly proportional to the velocity. So we can write here that F2 or Fb is directly proportional to V. As the other two elements are not present here, therefore F will be equal to F2. And we can write it as B into V. This B here is your damping constant. Okay. Or this can be written as B into V1 minus V2, where V is equals to V1 minus V2. Or we can also write it as F is equals to F2 is equals to B into dx over dt in terms of displacement, or B into dx1 minus x2 into dt. So again, this displacement term is important, so you should remember it. Now our third element is spring element, which shows the stiffness of the body. So what happens when an external force is applied on an object, then depending on the direction of that force, that object gets stretched or contracted, which causes the deformation in its normal shape and size. Now stiffness is the extent to which an object resists deformation in response to the externally applied force. So when an external force is applied on a body, then due to the stiffness of that body, there will be a resisting force which opposes the deformation of that body, and this resisting force acts in the opposite direction of the externally applied force. Now the stiffness of the body is shown by using spring element, as you can see here in this diagram. So when an external force is applied on a body, then due to the stiffness of that body, a resisting force is developed which acts in the opposite direction of the externally applied force. Here this K is spring constant, and this is different for different materials or object. And this K shows the stiffness of a particular object. For example, the stiffness of a wood is more as compared to stiffness of a rubber, and that's why a rubber can be easily stretched or contracted as compared to a wood. Suppose if we apply an external force on a rubber and try to stretch it, then due to the stiffness of that rubber, there will be a resistive force which will try to contract it and bring it back to its normal shape. This resisting force is acting in the opposite direction of the externally applied force. Now here the other two elements, we are assuming that the other two elements are 0. Therefore this resisting force F3 or Fk will be equal to the externally applied force. And always remember that this resisting force F3 or Fk due to spring element is always proportional to the displacement. So we can write here that F3 or Fk is directly proportional to displacement. And as we know that the other two elements are not present here, therefore F will be equal to F3, and we can write it as K into X. This K here is our spring constant in terms of displacement, or we can also write it as K into x1 minus x2. Here x is equals to x1 minus x2. Now in terms of velocity, we can write F is equals to F3 is equals to K into V dt, or K into V1 minus V2 into dt. Here V is equals to V1 minus V2. So guys, these are three basic elements and resisting forces due to these elements for mechanical translational system. Now in practical situation, what happens that all three elements are always present there, because a body will always have some mass, it will have some order of stiffness, and there will always be some friction present between the surface and the body. So in practical situation, all three elements are present. Now let's solve this example. In this example, we have to determine the mathematical model for this mechanical translational system. Here in this example, you can see that we have a body of mass m, and when an external force is applied on this body, then due to the mass of this body, due to the friction between the surface and the body, and due to the stiffness of this body, we will have all three resisting forces F1, F2 and F3. Here the friction is shown by using damper element, and the stiffness of the body is shown by using the spring element. Now let's find out the mathematical model for this mechanical translational system. Here we know that external force is F. Now we have to write the resisting forces for due to all three elements. So let's write resisting forces. What are the resisting forces? First of all, resisting force due to mass element. We know that F1 is given as m into A, or m into dV over dt, or m into d2x over dt2. Now we will write resisting force due to damper element or due to friction. We can write it as F2 is equals to B into V, or B into dx over dt. Now we will write it for due to spring element or due to the stiffness of the body, which is given by F3 is equals to K into X, or K into V dt. Now we know, according to D'Alembert principle, we can write it as F external plus F resisting is always 0. We know it. So here we can write F external is F and F resisting is F1, F2 and F3. Therefore we can write it here as F plus minus F1 minus F2 minus F3 is equals to 0. Why we took negative signs here? Because all three resisting forces are acting in the opposite direction of the externally applied force. That's why negative signs are taken here. So we can write it as F is equals to F1 plus F2 plus F3. Now we can write it as m into dV over dt plus B into V plus K into V dot dt. This is in terms of velocity. Now in terms of displacement, we can write it as F is equals to m into d2x over dt2 plus B into dx over dt and plus K into x. So this is the equation that we got in terms of displacement, and this equation is very useful. So this equation here in terms of displacement is important, and we will use this equation when we will talk about analogous system in our next lecture. This is the mathematical model for this mechanical translational system which we got using D'Alembert principle. Now our next topic is basic elements for mechanical rotational system. So first of all, always remember that for mechanical rotational system, input will be torque T and output will be angular velocity omega or angular displacement theta. And again, there are three basic elements for mechanical rotational systems, which are inertia element, torsional damper element, and torsional spring element. So let's talk about them one by one. So first of all, we will talk about the inertia element. So what happens when an external torque T is applied on a body having moment of inertia J, then it produces an angular acceleration alpha. Now due to the inertia of this body, there will always be a resisting torque T1 or Tj which will act in the opposite direction of the externally applied torque. Now here we are assuming that the other two elements are negligible, therefore this resisting torque T1 will be equal to the externally applied torque T. So this resisting torque T1 is proportional to the angular acceleration alpha. So we can write here as T1 or Tj is proportional to angular acceleration alpha, or as the other two elements are not present here, therefore we can write T is equals to T1 is equals to J into alpha, or we can also write it as T is equals to T1 is equals to J into d omega over dt in terms of angular velocity, or we can also write it as T is equals to T1 is equals to J into d2 theta over dt2. Again, this equation in terms of angular displacement is very important for us. So our next element is torsional damper element, which shows the friction. So suppose this is a body placed on a surface. Now if an external torque is applied on this body, then due to the friction present between the surface and this body, there will be a resisting torque T2 or TB which will act in the opposite direction of the externally applied force. Even if this body is placed inside a liquid and you are trying to rotate this inside the liquid by applying an external torque T, then also there will be a resisting torque T2 or TB which will be developed because of the viscous friction present between the liquid and this body. So this torque acts in the opposite direction of the externally applied torque and it tries to resist the rotation of this body. Now this friction is shown by a torsional damper element, as we can see here in this diagram. Here this B is called as the torsional damping constant. Now the other two elements are assumed to be negligible here, therefore this resisting torque T2 or TB is equal to the externally applied torque T. Now this resisting torque T2 or TB is directly proportional to the angular velocity omega, therefore we can write here that T2 or TB is directly proportional to omega. As the other two elements are negligible here, therefore we can write T is equals to T2 is equals to B into omega, or B into omega 1 minus omega 2. Here omega is equals to omega 1 minus omega 2. Or we can also write it as T is equals to T2 is equals to B into d theta over dt, or B into d theta 1 minus theta 2 over dt in terms of angular displacement. So our third element is torsional spring element, which shows the stiffness of a body. So what happens when an external torque T is applied on a body, then due to the stiffness of that body, there will be a resisting torque T3 or Tk which will act in the opposite direction of this externally applied torque and try to oppose the rotation of the body. A torsional spring element is used to show the stiffness of the body, as we can see here in this diagram. Here K is our torsional spring constant. As the other two elements are assumed to be negligible here, therefore this T3 or Tk is equals to the externally applied torque. So we can write here that, and also the resisting torque T3 or Tk is directly proportional to the angular displacement theta. Therefore we can write it right here, T3 or Tk is directly proportional to theta. As the other two elements are not present here, therefore we can write T is equals to T3 is equals to K into theta in terms of angular displacement, and in terms of angular velocity we can write it as T is equals to T3 is equals to K into omega dt. So these are the three basic elements for mechanical rotational systems and the resisting torques due to these elements. Now again, in practical situation, all three elements are always present here. A body will have some moment of inertia, there will be some friction, and a body will always possess some order of stiffness. Therefore, in practical situation, all three elements are always present there, as you can see here in this diagram. So in this example, we have to determine the mathematical model for the system shown in the figure given below. So here in this system, you can see that we have a body having moment of inertia J, and when an external torque T is applied on this body, then due to the inertia of this body, due to the friction present between the surface and the body, and due to the stiffness of the body, we have three resisting torques T1, T2 and T3 respectively. So we have to find out the mathematical model. We have to write the mathematical model for this mechanical rotational system. Now let's do it. So what we have given external torque, which is T. Now here in this example, as all three elements are present, therefore we have to write the resisting torques for all three elements. So let's do it. So resisting torque, first due to inertia element, we know that it is given by F1 is equals to J into alpha or J into d omega over dt or J into d2 theta over dt2. Second resisting torque is due to torsional damper element or due to the friction present between the surface and the body, and this is given by F2 is equals to B into omega or B into d theta over dt. Similarly, resisting torque due to torsional spring element, which is nothing but the stiffness of the body, and it is given by F3 is equals to K into theta or K into omega dt. Now, according to D'Ambert's principle, we know that external torque plus resisting torque will always be zero. The algebraic sum of external torque and resisting torque will always be zero. Therefore, we can write it external torque is T and resisting torque is minus T1, minus T2 and minus T3. Why negative signs here? Because the resisting torques are acting in the opposite direction of the externally applied torque, and that's why we have taken negative signs here, and this is equals to 0. Therefore, we can write it as T is equals to T1 plus T2 plus T3. So we can write it as T is equals to J into d omega over dt plus B into omega plus K into omega dt. This is the equation of T in terms of angular velocity, and in terms of angular displacement we can write it as T is equals to J d2 theta over dt plus B d theta over dt plus K into theta. Again, this equation is important for us, and we will use it when we will study analogous system in our next video. So this is a very important equation which is in terms of angular displacement. So guys, I hope you understand everything that we have discussed in this video. In this video, we have studied about D'Alembert law, the basic elements for mechanical translational and rotational systems, and the resisting forces due to those basic elements. And we also determined the mathematical model for mechanical translational and mechanical rotational system using D'Alembert's principle. So that's all for this video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, signing off.